What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and we are continuing our Voidtober. As you can see, all the decorations. I go way crazy, huh? Anyway, we got a spoiler-free review for you today by none other than the master of horror, Dario Argento, and it's called Dark Glasses, and it's on Shudder now. Let's check it out. So I've been anxiously awaiting to see this. I think it played in a few festivals and things, and of course Shudder went and picked it up for their streaming service, which you can watch it on now. It is now available today. And this, of course, is by none other than Dario Argento, the maestro, who has done movies like Suspiria, Phenomena, and many others. He's produced many other films, including Demons. In fact, he even brought along Franco Ferrini to help him write this story that helped write the Demons 1 and 2 movies, as well as many other films that he's done in the past. Now, obviously, Dario Argento has gained quite a name over the years, many because of his more famous film being Suspiria. He's done multiple other films that people are fans of all over, Suspiria being one of the bigger ones, I personally feel. He has done a lot of different things, though. A lot of us 80s fans, of course, love him, and he has grown and done some different things over the years, including a movie, Giallo, which is kind of a throwback to his old films and films of the 70s and 80s. And he basically did a movie with Adrian Brody many years ago that was not too bad. It was a little bit more of the Hollywood style, and it was actually pretty big budget. Since then, we've gotten other movies like Dracula 3D, starring Rutger Hauer, who has like the Van Helsing character in the movie, which was a little iffy for me. Wasn't really a big fan. And now we have, of course, Dark Glasses. So what is Dark Glasses? Well, Dark Glasses is about a woman, a lady of the night, prostitute who works and is suddenly attacked by a man who has been killing off several ladies of the night. Brutally, might I add. And when she is chased and gets away from the killer, she gets into a car accident, killing a mother and father in a car and leaving only their child to survive them. She, of course, wants to help this child out and feels guilt for being in this accident, but she is completely blind. And so these two get entangled into this crazy story about the serial killer, the child, and her trying to basically solve the mystery of who's the killer and who will survive. Which I gotta say is actually a pretty decent idea here. I really like the idea. It feels kind of throwbackish. And of course, aesthetically, Dario Argento definitely wanted to go back and do some of those beats to kind of film work like he did back in the day, but also kind of doing something a little bit more modern, you know, that he's doing like he kind of did with the Adrian Brody film, the Giallo on that. And then also kind of mixing in some of the music that I think is kind of like a compromise between the old progressive sort of rock style and today's sort of dark synth wave style from Arnaud Ribottini, which I really like the original song that plays for the beginning of the movie. They do a nice little piece with this sort of, you know, eclipse that's happening in the movie. That song's called Occhiali Neri. Was pretty fucking glorious. I added it to my playlist, which he has another song called Pagan Dance Move that I have in that same playlist. If you got Spotify, you like dark synth and electronic and horror music, I would definitely add my playlist to yours and start listening now, because I have curated single-handedly every single song, not like grabbing albums and chucking it in there. So check it out. I'll put a link down below. But yeah, this movie did a really good job with the soundtrack, and a lot of the gore was super fucked up, especially one of the first kills in the movie, which I won't explain what happens, but it is a throwback in a way to one of his other movies, in Deep Red, in a kind of way. It's not the first time he's had this particular kill or anything, but it is very graphic, and I was very happy about that. The gore in this film is not overwhelming. It doesn't overstay its presence. They are focusing on sort of the mystery and the suspense of this blind woman who became blind because of the car accident, and this child who is now parentless, and them teaming up together to sort of fight against this bad person thing, whatever. It's not a supernatural film, by the way. It's just a straight up serial killer-esque sort of guy with black gloves. Now, one of the things that I really was a little sad about is I felt like they could have really played on the fact that she was blind and kind of gone with the story a little bit more in directions that would have been kind of like, let's say, Hush, where the girl is deaf and she can't hear, and there's all these different really intense scenes that she is unaware of because she can't hear. I really thought they were going to play on that a lot more in this movie, and they do not as much. And unfortunately, the star, Elenia Pastorelli, who is gorgeous, by the way, and probably picked therefore, doesn't do the greatest blind woman that I've seen. In fact, it's kind of overdone, to be honest with you. Now, granted, I've never tried to act like a blind person, so I would have no idea, but it just does not feel very authentic here. Of course, we do get another star in this movie, that is Asia Argento, Dario Argento's daughter, which surprisingly, she's not in the lead role, and she's not nude. Interesting, huh? No disrespect, of course, but there is a lot of nudity in this scene, and I'm kind of glad that his daughter wasn't the main star for that, because it's always a little weird for me. I don't know why, but it is. Anybody else feel me on that? Anyway, back to the maestro. No disrespect. I love Argento. This movie just kind of brought me in and out of the picture. There's a lot of things to like about it, but there's also not as much that I was hoping for. Like, I was hoping it would lean on the more modern parts in the old Adrian Brody film that he did called Giallo, but it didn't turn out that way. There are some of that modern elements in it. Some of the acting is a little noticeable between the characters, and this is all, of course, is spoken in Italian. The relationship between the child and her wasn't exactly dynamic. It didn't really work, and it's supposed to be this really overwhelming, bond that they share because of this tragic event that they are both wrapped up in. I think that could have been played off a lot better than it was. Granted, if you're just looking at this from hey, I just want to see a kind of like a old sort of throwback kind of film that might be a little more modern, it might not bother you too much. And, it's a minor gripe, really, but if you were ever watching a movie with subtitles and you don't speak the language and you are reading the subtitles and you notice that the acting's a little off, usually you can hide some of the bad acting behind that. But yeah, it's not terrible. It's not great either, though. It's just, yeah. Overall, I still think that there was some pretty brutal kills, a couple of nods that it seems like he was throwing back to. Like, there was she gets a dog in the movie, and that is kind of, in my opinion, a throwback to Suspiria. No spoilers. But yeah, it just seemed like a little bit more homage to kind of his works that he's done in the past, an amalgamation, so to speak, of those things, but never really kind of nailing that suspense. Although the music does a pretty decent job of kind of pulling you in and out of that situation. Does work in this movie in some moments, probably less than others. Some of the camera work that Dario Argento is known for is in here in some respects, while in other ways it doesn't feel as heavy-handed in the artistic realm. Although, does it need to be? Was he trying to be artistic in that way? I don't know. I don't think so. This is more of a modern take with a little bit of a kind of throwback flair to it. So ultimately, I don't think that this was my favorite movie of his, but by far not the worst that I've seen or that I have least enjoyed of his catalog. But it is a pretty interesting idea to kind of play with. I think it kind of misses in some regards, but is still kind of fun if you're just kind of looking at it from a lens of a fan of somebody who likes the old 70s and 80s films, which, at the time were also a little imperfect at times, but, get carried by some of the aesthetics, like the sound design and the music and, some of the visual effects and stuff like that. But they're not all present here, so I feel like it kind of brings it down a little bit. I would say that this movie is probably about a 5.5 or 6 out of 10. I hate to say that. It's not like I'm trying to say something like that because I want to. It's just where I'm feeling right now. I mean, I will watch it again, but it's not going to be high up on the list to rewatch. I just was not feeling it as much, and I almost feel like I would probably watch the Adrian Brody Giallo film more. But, it's not a bad return for Dario Argento. I just wish it would have been more, and I think we're all kind of hoping. I mean, maybe I'm being too picky, but you're going to go into this and either really just kind of be okay with it or not like it or I don't know. It just depends what you're coming in from. The man has a healthy catalog of movies that span all over the place. So it's really kind of up to what you like about the master and if it's going to work for you. For me, this just was not within the realm of my favorites of his, but I still respect and love the man nonetheless, and it's good to see him return. I think it'll be fine if you go in with a little bit lower expectations and you'll enjoy it. If you're expecting Suspiria, you're out of your fucking mind. Like, don't even. It's not going to happen. But anyway, what do you guys think? Did you see the movie? Did you watch the trailer? Are you excited to see this movie? Are you disappointed by the movie? Do you think that he should do more? I would be happy to see him do a little bit more. You know, I want to see the master get back in there. Hell, they're talking about John Carpenter possibly doing Dead Space. So, hey, I'll have that too. I mean, even if it's not perfect, I still want to see these guys do what they love. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, we got a lot of more, including Halloween Ends tonight. Check it out if you're going to watch it on Peacock or whatever. But yeah, we'll be back for that. And thanks for coming by. And as always, long live the void.